Welcome to Hollywood Latest Reports. Joyce Meyer has been a household name for decades, touching millions of lives with her powerful preaching, straightforward teaching style, and life-changing books. Recently, however, whispers about her future in ministry have grown louder. At a recent gathering, Meyer made an emotional statement that left her audience stunned, sparking speculation that she may be preparing to step back from the pulpit. The possibility of retirement, though not officially confirmed, has sent shockwaves through her devoted following around the world. For years, Meyer has stood as one of the most influential Christian teachers in modern history. Her ministry, Joyce Meyer Ministries, spans continents, reaches millions through television and online platforms, and continues to provide humanitarian aid across the globe. She has been more than a preacher. She has become a symbol of resilience, having risen from a traumatic past to lead a life of faith, strength, and hope. Her testimony alone has inspired countless people who once believed their brokenness disqualified them from God's love. It was during a recent conference session that Meyer paused, her voice trembling, and spoke words that immediately caught the attention of everyone listening. Without giving a direct announcement, she hinted at the possibility that her journey as a frontline preacher might soon transition into a different season. The words she chose were carefully spoken, but undeniably emotional. Many in the crowd grew silent, realizing that what they were hearing could be a turning point in her ministry. She spoke of age, seasons of life, and the importance of finishing well. To those who have followed her closely, it was clear that Meyer was reflecting deeply on her decades of service. While she did not outright say, "I am retiring," her tone and choice of language suggested she was preparing her audience for a new chapter. Listeners later described the moment as bittersweet, grateful for everything she had given yet fearful of what her absence might mean. This is not the first time Joyce Meyer has addressed the subject of slowing down. In recent years, she has occasionally spoken about the natural process of aging and the wisdom of knowing when to step back. However, the recent comments carried more weight than ever before. Her emotional tone, the expressions on her face, and the silence that fell across the room made the moment unforgettable. For many fans, Meyer has been more than a preacher. She has been a spiritual mother. She has walked them through their darkest valleys with her honest approach to faith, teaching them how to overcome guilt, shame, fear, and discouragement. Her books line the shelves of millions of homes. Her television program has aired in multiple languages across the world, and her conferences have drawn crowds who testify to life-changing encounters. The idea of her stepping away, even partially, feels unimaginable to those who have leaned on her guidance for years. The reactions following her emotional statement were immediate. Social media platforms flooded with clips and quotes, with fans expressing shock, sadness, and gratitude. Some wrote about how they came to faith because of Joyce Meyer. Others recalled personal battles with depression, abuse, or addiction that they were able to overcome because of her teachings. The thought of her retirement brought tears to many who could not imagine a world where Meyer was no longer at the forefront of ministry. At the same time, there is a growing sense of understanding. Even the most admired leaders must eventually slow down. Some fans reflected on how Meyer deserves rest after decades of tirelessly pouring into others. Her ministry has spanned over 40 years, and she has preached in thousands of meetings, sometimes multiple sessions a day. The wear and tear of such a schedule is immense, and many supporters now feel it is only fair for her to embrace a season of peace and rest. One of the most emotional parts of her recent words was when she reminded her listeners that every season has its purpose. To longtime followers, this was not just a passing comment, it sounded like a farewell note disguised as a lesson. Meyer has always been known for her practical wisdom, and her reflections about seasons resonated deeply. While her audience hung on every word, many quietly wondered if she was preparing them for her departure from regular preaching engagement. The impact of Meyer's possible retirement extends far beyond her personal journey. Ministries, churches, and families across the world rely on her voice as a source of direction. She has been a consistent presence in Christian media for decades, one of the rare figures who remain both relevant and deeply respected across multiple generations. If she truly steps back, it will create a void that few can easily fill. Critics and supporters alike acknowledge her remarkable legacy. Despite facing controversies at times, Joyce Meyer has always remained firm in her calling, unshaken in her mission, and unafraid to share her personal struggles. Her transparency about surviving abuse, her honesty about marriage challenges, and her boldness in addressing sensitive topics made her stand apart. This authenticity is what fans fear losing the most. Speculation now surrounds what her ministry might look like in the future. Some believe she may continue to write books, mentor younger leaders, or host occasional conferences without the rigorous travel schedule. Others wonder if she will step away completely, leaving her ministry in the hands of trusted successors. While no clear plan has been announced, the possibility of transition is undeniable. In many ways, Joyce Meyer has already prepared her audience for this moment. Over the past decade, she has often spoken about raising up new leaders and encouraging the next generation. She has emphasized that no single person should carry the weight of ministry forever. These reminders, once seen as general wisdom, now seem like subtle clues that she has long been planning for the future. For those who fear losing her voice entirely, it is worth remembering that Joyce Meyer's teachings are already preserved in countless forms. From hundreds of books to endless hours of video and audio, her legacy is recorded and ready to continue impacting lives long after she steps off stage. The digital age ensures that her words will remain accessible, giving hope to those who cannot imagine a world without her encouragement. Still, nothing compares to the live experience of seeing Joyce Meyer in person. Those who have attended her conferences often speak of the unique atmosphere, the laughter, the tears, the breakthroughs, and the unmistakable presence of God. It is this experience that fans worry they will lose. Her recent emotional words only amplified this fear, reminding everyone that every season, no matter how impactful, eventually changes. For Meyer herself, the decision is not simple. Stepping back means leaving behind a rhythm she has known for most of her life. Preaching is not just her profession, it is her identity and calling. Yet, as she reflected in her emotional statement, wisdom sometimes means recognizing when to let go. Her willingness to consider retirement may not signal weakness but rather strength, the strength to obey God's leading, even when it requires change. The coming months will likely reveal more clarity. Until then, her fans are left reflecting on her impact and preparing themselves for what may come. Whether or not she retires soon, one thing is certain: Joyce Meyer's ministry has forever changed the landscape of modern Christianity. She has paved a way for countless others, and her influence will not fade with time. For now, all eyes remain on Joyce Meyer, waiting for her next words. Was this truly the beginning of her farewell? Or was it simply a heartfelt moment of vulnerability, reminding her audience that life is precious and seasons shift? Only time will tell. But the emotions stirred by her recent statement prove just how deeply she has touched lives. Her legacy is undeniable. From survivors of abuse to those battling depression, from broken families to those who have rediscovered hope, Meyer has been a voice of truth and healing. As the world listens closely, perhaps her most recent words will serve as both a comfort and a challenge. To embrace every season with faith, courage, and grace, just as she has modeled for decades. As discussions around Joyce Meyer's possible retirement continue, it is worth pausing to reflect on just how remarkable her journey has been. Her life has never been one of ease or privilege. Born in 1943 in St. Louis, Missouri, Joyce faced a childhood marked by trauma and abuse. For many, such experiences would have silenced their voice forever, but for Meyer, the pain became the foundation for her message. Her transparency about her broken past and her ability to speak openly about shame, anger, and healing set her apart from countless other preachers. It was her willingness to be vulnerable that gave people hope that they too could find wholeness. When she first began her ministry in the 1970s, Joyce Meyer was not the global figure she is today. She started small, leading a Bible study in a local church basement. Her passion for teaching the Word of God soon attracted growing numbers. What began as a simple gathering of women eventually expanded into conferences that filled entire arenas. By the 1980s and 1990s, Joyce Meyer's television program, Enjoying Everyday Life, was reaching millions. Her direct, conversational style made viewers feel as though she was speaking personally to them. She did not hide behind complicated theology or polished words. She simply spoke from her heart, and that honesty resonated. The road, however, was not without challenges. Over the years, Meyer faced criticism for her prosperity teaching and her financial lifestyle. At times, she became the subject of media investigations and controversy. Yet she never shied away from addressing concerns head-on. She adjusted where she felt necessary, clarified her stance on finances, and remained transparent about her ministry's work. Instead of being crushed by criticism, she used it as an opportunity to grow stronger. For her supporters, this resilience only deepened their respect. They saw a leader who did not claim perfection but demonstrated perseverance. Now, decades later, Meyer's words about retirement stir emotions precisely because her life story is one of perseverance against all odds. For survivors of trauma, she represents hope. For women in ministry, she has been a trailblazer who shattered stereotypes about female preachers. For everyday believers, she has been a spiritual guide through the ups and downs of life. To imagine her stepping back feels like the closing of a historic chapter in modern Christianity. What then might come next if Joyce Meyer does retire? Some speculate that her ministry could transition into a more collaborative model, led by younger voices she has mentored. Others suggest that she may focus on writing, leaving behind a greater library of resources for generations to come. It is also possible that she may dedicate more time to the humanitarian side of Joyce Meyer Ministries, which has long been active in feeding the hungry, rescuing victims of human trafficking, and providing aid in times of disaster. One of the most striking aspects of her recent speech was her emphasis on finishing well. This phrase is not random. It carries deep significance in Christian teaching. Finishing well means not just ending a journey, but doing so with integrity, strength, and a clear conscience. For Joyce Meyer, this could be her way of signaling that she wants to leave the stage before age or fatigue diminishes her impact. She wants her final years in ministry, however long they may last, to be remembered as strong, powerful, and faithful. Fans have begun to share testimonies online, highlighting how Meyer's teachings have carried them through seasons of despair. Some recount being on the brink of divorce until her sermons on forgiveness helped restore their marriage. Others speak of overcoming lifelong battles with guilt after reading her books like Battlefield of the Mind or Beauty for Ashes. These personal stories reveal that Meyer's legacy is not measured in conferences or television ratings, but in lives transformed. For these individuals, the thought of losing her active voice feels deeply personal. Still, there is a unique beauty in transition. If Meyer does step back, her life itself becomes a message to the church, that every leader must one day hand over the torch, and that the kingdom of God is bigger than any single individual. In many ways, Joyce Meyer has been preparing her audience for this very truth. By raising up leaders, mentoring her team, and encouraging others to step into their calling, she has ensured that her absence will not mean the end of her ministry's impact. This moment will be remembered for years to come. If you were moved, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this report with your friends. More exclusive stories and emotional updates are on the way, so stay tuned.